Hello, my name is Michelle, and I'm with the West Point branch of Pamunkey Regional Library. Welcome to Monty's Monstrous Poetry. A.E. Housman. Alfred Edward Housman was an English poet and classical scholar whose work became a major force in turn-of-the-century English poetry. Housman's closest friend and old Oxford roommate, Moses Jackson, was dying, prompting Housman to compile his last poems for Jackson to read. The 41 previously unpublished poems were so titled because Housman felt his inspiration had been exhausted. Indeed, these proved to be his last published works. Thomas Hardy. Born in 1840, Thomas Hardy was a novelist and poet. His most notable works include Far from the Maddening Crowd, The Mayor of Casterbridge, and collected poems. He first published his poems in 1898, though he started writing them long before that. He was a Victorian realist, and he acutely criticized the then existing values and social pressures on people. These books of poetry and many others are available online through Hoopla and Overdrive. Check out our digital collection and get wrapped up in a good book. From Last Poems by A.E. Housman, Poem 3. Her strong enchantments failing, her towers of fear and wreck, her limbex dried of poisons, and the knife at her neck. The queen of air and darkness begins to shrill and cry, O young man, O my slayer, tomorrow you shall die. O queen of air and darkness, I think 'tis truth you say, and I shall die tomorrow, but you will die today. Ah, Are You Digging on My Grave by Thomas Hardy. Ah, are you digging on my grave, my loved one planting rue? No, yesterday he went to wed, one of the brightest wealth has bred. It cannot hurt her now, he said, that I should not be true. Then who is digging on my grave, my nearest, dearest kin? Ah, no, they sit and think, what use? What good will planting flowers produce? No tendance of her mound can loose her spirit from death's gin. But someone digs upon my grave, my enemy, prodding sly. Nay, when she heard you'd pass the gate that shuts on all flesh soon or late, she thought you no more worth her hate, and cares not where you lie. Then who is digging on my grave? Say, since I have not guessed. Oh, it is I, my mistress dear, your little dog who still lives near, and much I hope my movements here have not disturbed your rest. Ah, yes, you dig upon my grave, why flashed it not on me? That one true heart was left behind, what feeling do we ever find to equal among humankind a dog's fidelity? Mistress, I dug upon your grave to bury a bone in case I should be hungry near this spot when passing on my daily trot. I am sorry, but I quite forgot. It was your resting place. Macbeth by William Shakespeare. One of Shakespeare's darkest and most violent tragedies, Macbeth's struggle between his own ambition and his loyalty to the king is dramatically compelling.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio.
Yeah, that's the wrong play.
What? BRB. Continue.
As those he killed return to haunt him, Macbeth is plagued by the prophecy of 3 sinister witches. Song of the Witches, Double Double, Toil and Trouble by William Shakespeare. Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed, thrice and once the hedge pig whined. Harpier cries, 'Tis time, 'tis time. Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31, sweltered venom sleeping got, boil'st thou first in the charmed pot. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, Mine gulf of the raven's salt sea shark, roots of hemlock digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming crew, gall of goat and slips of yew. Add thereto a tiger's chaudron for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson was a reclusive American poet who was largely unpublished until after her death. Evidence suggests that Dickinson lived much of her life in isolation. Considered an eccentric by locals, she developed a penchant for white clothing and was known for her reluctance to even leave her bedroom. Although Dickinson was a prolific private poet, fewer than a dozen of her nearly 1,800 poems were published during her lifetime. It was not until after her death in 1886 when Emily's younger sister Lavinia discovered her cache of poems and the breadth of Dickinson's work became apparent. I Felt a Funeral in My Brain by Emily Dickinson. I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading, treading, till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a service like a drum kept beating, beating, till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul, with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to toll, as all the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear, and I and silence, some strange race, wrecked solitary here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down, and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing then. Thank you for watching Monty's Monstrous Poetry. We hope you enjoyed it. And stay tuned for the next installment.